You wake up already tired, not the kind of tired that sleep fixes, not the tired that coffee touches. It's deeper than your muscles. It lives behind your eyes, in your chest, in that quiet heaviness that arrives before the day even begins. You look at the things you should be doing, the things other people seem to do effortlessly, and the word appears in your mind. Again, lazy. You've said it to yourself so many times it feels factual, like a diagnosis, like a personal failure disguised as a personality trait. But here's the truth, no one ever told you. Lazy people don't feel guilty while resting. Lazy people don't mentally rehearse their entire to-do list while lying still. Lazy people don't experience shame for being exhausted. You do, and that's the paradox. Because the part of you that now freezes, the part that shuts down instead of starting, was once the part of you that worked too hard, too early, too silently, too alone. You were not lazy. You were burned out before you ever had the language for it. As a child, you learned something fundamental about survival, that rest was unsafe, that needs were inconvenient, that slowing down meant falling behind, being judged, or being abandoned. So you adapted. You became responsible before you were ready. You became self-sufficient before you were supported. You learned to override your own limits long before you understood you had any. And now, as an adult, the very system that kept you alive back then is the system quietly sabotaging you now. What once protected you is now exhausting you. Psychology has a name for what you lived through. Several. Actually, one of them is parentification. Parentification occurs when a child is forced, emotionally or practically, to take on adult roles too early. You might have been the emotional regulator in your household, the peacemaker, the achiever, the strong one, the one who didn't cause trouble because there was already too much of it. Another term is hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is what happens when a nervous system grows up in unpredictability, when love feels conditional, when safety feels fragile. Your brain learned to scan constantly for tone shifts, emotional weather, unspoken expectations, and then there's functional freeze. Unlike fight or flight, freeze doesn't look dramatic. It looks like procrastination, indecision, mental fog, a strange inability to start, even when you care deeply. Neurologically, this matters. Your nervous system didn't develop around curiosity and exploration. It developed around management, managing moods, managing outcomes, managing yourself. The default mode network, the part of the brain responsible for self-reflection, became overactive. Your inner narrator never shuts up, always evaluating, always correcting, always anticipating failure. Meanwhile, your reward system learns something tragic. That effort does not lead to relief. It leads to more responsibility. So now, when you try to start something, your body remembers. It doesn't feel motivation. It feels danger. There is a grief that no one sees. The grief of never having been a child. The grief of being praised for maturity, when what you really needed was permission to be messy, to be slow, to be held. Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parents." You carried weight that was never yours, and you paid for it with something precious, authenticity. You learned to ask, "What's required of me?" before you ever asked, "What do I want?" Belonging came at a cost. Approval came with conditions. Love felt earned, not given. So you sacrificed softness for safety, desire for duty, rest for reliability, and the core fear embedded itself quietly. If I stop, I will be worthless. If I rest, I will be left. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. This is why rest feels heavy with guilt, why joy feels undeserved, why doing nothing feels like doing something wrong. You are not afraid of work. You are afraid of the endlessness of it, afraid that no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. This is how childhood burnout disguises itself in adulthood. You might Feel paralyzed when starting tasks, not because you don't care, but because starting feels like entering a contract you can't escape. Over-prepare, overthink, and still feel behind because your worth is tied to performance. Swing between hyperproductivity and total collapse. Cycles of overdrive, followed by shutdown. Struggle with boundaries, because saying no once meant disappointing someone important. Feel inexplicably resentful toward demands, even reasonable ones, because your body remembers being overused. Delay things you actually want, because desire once felt dangerous or selfish. Call yourself lazy while secretly being exhausted beyond. Words. These are not character flaws. They are coping strategies. Strategies learned in an environment where you're nervous. System had no margin for rest. The first step is not fixing, it's witnessing. Witnessing the younger version of you who learned that survival required constant output, and refusing to gaslight yourself by saying others had it worse. Pain does not require comparison to be valid. Healing does not mean becoming more disciplined. It means becoming safer inside your own body. This is where inner child reparenting begins. You learn to offer yourself what was missing: consistency, permission, rest without punishment. You practice stopping before collapse, choosing softness deliberately, letting effort lead to relief, not more obligation. Shadow work invites you to reclaim what you buried. Desire, play, unstructured time. You teach your nervous system something revolutionary: that rest does not equal abandonment, that slowing down does not equal failure, that you are worthy even when you are still. As philosopher Byung-Chul Han wrote, burnout is not the result of too much effort, but of too much positivity, too much pressure to perform. You were never lazy, you were loyal, you were adaptive, you were strong too soon. And now, your work is not to fix yourself, but to finally let yourself rest. Not because you've earned it, but because you never should have had to earn it in the first place. If this resonated, share it with someone who still thinks they're broken when they're actually just tired. Subscribe if you're ready to unlearn survival and choose wholeness, because healing isn't becoming someone new. It's becoming who you were before the world asked too much of you.